All right, it's about 5:30, so we're going to call the meeting to order at 5:31. We'll start with a flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll do a roll call. Ann Carpenter is absent. Richard Kapp.
Here.
Seat 2 is vacant. Virgil Anderson.
Here.
James Ricker.
Here.
Gordon Shaw.
Here.
And Jeremy McCullum here. Moving on to the approval of the agenda. Anybody wants to motion for?
If there's no changes to the agenda, I'd move that for approval of it.
I second that.
The only change on the agenda is going to be Mark Henry's going to be in section 8, presenting instead of Dan.
Oh, okay.
We got approval there?
You can do a roll call, or well, you can do a roll call, but you can just say all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's do the approval of the meeting minutes for September 18th.
Second it.
Does everybody want to approve that?
Same way.
Huh? Same way, yeah. Huh?
I did.
Verge. We have board approval on that, everybody? Aye.
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 All right, public comment. During this item, the public may address the commission on items not on this agenda. The public comment period is limited to 15 minutes, so please limit comments to 3 minutes per person. If all comments cannot be heard within the 15-minute time limit, the public comment period will be taken up at the end of the regular meeting. The commission is not permitted to take any action on items addressed under, on any action on items addressed under this item. Is there any public comment tonight? No? All right. Move on to item number 6, report from the Parks Administrator.
Good evening, Vice Chair McCollum, Commissioners. Erica Seward, your Parks Administrator, here to provide an update. Okay, there we go. So per usual, reporting out on board actions that occurred since the last meeting. Our Board of Supervisors on October 7th approved the funding agreement with the Auburn Area Rec and Park District for the appropriation of park dedication fees for area number 5. Next, we'd like to share more on staffing and capacity. So I'm pleased to report that all positions have been filled over the past couple of weeks. There's some exciting news to share that Mark Henry, your park operations supervisor, sitting in for Dan Fodder, will speak to later this evening during the informational item on operations and maintenance. We continue to focus on staffing and right-sizing planning for the future with the RSG staff and operations study that we hope to complete by mid-December and weave that into our budget development conversations into January and February. So more to come on that. Currently, we're focused on year-end wrap-up for 2025. That includes planning ahead for 2026. So scheduling and reservations will be underway soon, looking at inviting different user groups to meet with us to look at the calendar year for field reservations and use and maintenance agreements, so we can get that on the calendar, as well as planning ahead for Hidden Falls, that reservation system, and other key dates, including some projects that we hope to celebrate and complete with a ribbon cutting, including the Martis Valley Segment 3F trail, which there's more to share there. Budget development is underway. That's being led by Dina, who's here, our AFO, for 26-27, including capital improvement project planning, as well as our operations budget and the many cost centers that we're responsible for. So again, we'll be sharing more come January, and then refining our work plan for the next 6 months. So our budget is right on track, and we, again, continue to flex and look at what projects are feasible based on capacity, cost escalation, as well as weather, for instance. So we just had a meeting earlier today with our O&M and P planning and development teams for, again, adjusting our schedules as needed. And then 2025, as it comes to a close, it's time to reflect on all of the many accomplishments of the year. And so at a staff meeting yesterday, we all went around and shared our top 5 staff picks. There was way too much to report out on today, but I've lumped them into 5 different buckets. And the first one that really was elevated and through unanimous consensus was everyone agrees that we love our team and love the work that we do. There's been quite a lot of change, as you know, over the past year. And I'd really like to acknowledge the many contributions and legacy of our former Parks Administrator, Andy Fisher, and Project Manager, Ted Rowell, who both retired. These seats, as you know, have been filled, providing continuity and different perspectives and skill sets for these roles. Also, with the addition of a new position, Principal Planner Kyle Smith and Project Manager Lauren Catlin, who you'll meet later this evening, we've really escalated and elevated the work that we're doing, acknowledging that there's quite a bit that Parks is responsible for, and filling these key positions has allowed us to restructure and reframe, reshape the division. So with reshuffling and organizing of new positions, that's also included adding extra help, an office move, better utilization of spaces, and relocation of our parks patrol. So again, I just really want to thank all of the staff and our commission for all the ways that you show up and have navigated this time of change, which leads to collaboration, learning, and growing together. Another theme for this year, we've reframed the way that we do things, establishing programs like equipment management, fuels as its own program, grazing, park fees, which we've always had, but again, thinking about how we are organizing the work that we do. Training and education, focused on safety as a #1 priority, and cross-training. Industry, trades, conferences, meeting facilitation, and creating opportunities to lead and learn both from each other and from our stakeholders throughout the community. So we've worked with public safety up in Tahoe and in West Placer. We've also leaned on our volunteer groups to be out in the field with us and helping to support the work. We participated in advocacy activities with federal, state, and other local agencies, as you'll see with the forestry tour in the top right, and then a lot of community engagement with attending forums and being visible and transparent as a goal in how we do business. Next up, a third theme was celebration. So we've had many tours that you've participated in and celebrations, from turning ribbon cuttings from caution yellow tape to bringing scissors with us and being prepared to celebrate. We've really leaned into celebrating the completion of projects and the value that Parks brings to the community. We've hosted the Walk of Honor, which was a really heartfelt tribute to our veteran and active service members. The work featured in the bottom left is the cornhole boards, the new amenities out at Dry Creek that you all were able to experience firsthand with a fun little tournament that we had, and also, again, Applegate Park, which we visited most recently, and with Martis Valley Trail highlighting the work underway there, which, again, a ribbon cutting will be scheduled soon. And moving to the fourth theme is land management and stewardship practices. This again speaks to the depth and breadth of the work that we're involved in, from grazing and introducing cattle out at Hidden Falls to speaking to the media about that. You'll see our Ag Commissioner and Director of Parks, Ag Parks and Natural Resources, thank you. I was thinking AFNR in my head, so that's the shorthand. To beaver coexistence strategies and working with CDFW in the middle there to cleanups in Miners Ravine, burn piles, and winter snow plowing in the winter, and grooming of trails, to even talking about raptor perches. It is pretty astonishing, all of the ways that we show up every day and innovate and stay on the leading edge of best practices. And lastly here again, with Kyle Smith joining the team, has really given shape to planning and development, and again, right sizing and looking at how we do the work. And so I just would like to thank you for your partnership and the way that you lead. These are just some of the projects that have been completed, both on the planning side and also working with our operations and maintenance team. So we did speak about, and you did get a chance to visit Sterling Point Equestrian Staging Area. Kudos to that team for really all of the improvements that you did at that facility. Feist batting cages, Casey reported out on that last meeting, and that project has essentially wrapped up this week. Many site visits out to Hidden Falls and the expansion area, planning ahead for the future, and we'll be talking more about that in January. Applegate, Immigrant Trail, Bickford Trail, turf renovations. They're just way too much to report on here, but again, it really comes down to the coordination between our teams, and there's never a dull day in parks, I'll have to say. So with that, I would welcome any questions that you have. This is just one part of our process in reflecting on the year. We certainly would welcome your feedback or input as part of that. We'll be developing our budget narrative in the coming weeks. That is an opportunity to share all of these success stories with our board as we look to the future and plan ahead, looking for, again, more support and resources to allow us to grow and meet the needs of the community. So with that, I end my report.
I have a quick question. Do you get a short synopsis of status of the Eastern Placer County Trails plan, and what you're planning for the next year on that project?
Yes, so the North Tahoe Regional Trail study that is focused on providing a fiscal analysis and a feasibility analysis, that effort's being led by our consultants design workshop. We've had one internal stakeholder meeting evaluating kind of the scope of the project and all of the partners that will be participating as part of the project delivery team. These are the trail implementers based in the North Tahoe region, including many of the utility districts, some funding partners. We've had one meeting with those partners, and from there, the feedback provided was taken in and reviewed by our consultants design workshop. They have since compiled and refined kind of a scope, if you will, and key criteria for evaluating, again, the trail study itself, and have gone back out to the partners for one-on-one interviews. And so I think the next meeting they are planning to schedule is for January, while they do more intake, and they're also bringing on a sub consultant to look at more of the fiscal analysis piece.
Well, thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got one. I'm inquiring about a pond I saw on the second slide that you had. I'm unfamiliar with the location. I saw a couple boats out on it, and it looked like somebody in waders, maybe? Or maybe... It was one, there you are. Okay, number 4.
How much detail would you like?
Where's it located? And what's happening in that picture?
Okay, so this, I really don't want to steal Mark's thunder on this one because he came to save the day. Yeah, go for it.
This pond is in Granite Bay. It's right off of Barton Road and Douglas, right next to Granite Bay Park.
Okay,
And this pond is in the Princeton Reach HOA.
okay. Thank you.
Certainly.
And then that, I will say what's happening in that picture is we work with CDFW to come up with a way to manage the beaver population and some of the issues that the HOA was experiencing with the pond. And so it's coined a coexistence strategy, and Mark and his team worked closely with CDFW to construct a...
Well, basically, it's a pond leveler, and it's something that's unblockable by the beavers. And so you can see in the picture, there's a cage out there at the far end of the pipe, and that's me and the water guide in the cage. But the cage, the pipe that the water flows through is in the center of this cage, and the beaver can't get close enough to the pipe to feel the water moving, so therefore they're not going to try to block it. And so far that's been very effective, because he doesn't know where the water's escaping now, essentially is what it means. And then we also did quite a bit of exclusion fencing around a culvert that levels these. There's 2 ponds that level each other, and the beaver's trying to block the culvert in between them. So we did a fair amount of exclusion fencing around the culverts, and it appears to be quite successful. We were all waiting to see what it would actually do, and it's working very well.
Is that pond responsibility of the county to maintain, or does that belong to Princeton Reach?
It's Princeton Reach's pond, but because it's fed from our property, we're helping with the beaver situation.
Okay,
And it is part of our obligation as part of a settlement agreement as well.
that's kind
And
of
that's what you were leading
All right,
us
thank
into.
you.
I just didn't know, again, how much detail you wanted. Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other questions from the commission? No? Thank you, Erica. We can move on to number 6. Wait, number 7. Action items.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair McCollum, Commissioners. My name is Kyle Smith, your Principal Planner in Parks, Trails, and Open Space. And I'll be presenting this item. This is a fee dedication request from the City of Lincoln for the Lincoln Community Center Park Skate Park, or Lincoln Community Center Park Phase 1. So the Lincoln Community Center Park is a 4-acre park located in the city of Lincoln, essentially on Joyner and 3rd Street. It is the proposed park is going to be directly adjacent to the community center. I think that's
the reasoning behind the name or the existing name Community Center Park. As the site exists now, it is essentially an undeveloped site with the exception of the community center there. Phase 1 will include the development of the skate park, as you see here in the right picture, including drainage, fencing, lighting, and other pertinent improvements to support the skate park. This skate park and the park master plan was developed by the City of Lincoln and recently approved by the City Council in September of 2024. Both the master plan and the park design does receive significant community input from both the surrounding community as well as the City of Lincoln's Parks and Recreation Committee, which is a similar sister council to your own, as well as the Lincoln Bike and Skate Association, community partners and active partners in the development of the master plan. Upon completion of the skate park, the park will be open year-round from dawn till dusk. There are future plans to potentially expand hours into the night at 8 p.m., but that is the lighting for those improvements are not currently proposed with this phase 1, so expanded hours may come with phase 2. And again, like I said, this will have public access to not only City of Lincoln residents, but also residents of unincorporated Placer County. So this park impact fee request is requesting approximately $274,000 from the Area Number 6 Lincoln Area Fund. This funding represents a little bit less than 10% of the total project funding, coming in at a little less than $3 million. And so with that, I am happy to read the actions into the record, and also would like to note that the City of Lincoln Assistant City Manager Nita Racker is here as well to answer questions. So I'll go ahead and read the recommendation into the record, and then we'll be happy to respond to any questions you may have before inviting Assistant City Manager Racker up to the podium. So the action before you is to recommend the County Board of Supervisors approve a request from the City of Lincoln for park dedication fees from Recreation Area Number 6, Lincoln area, in the amount of $274,000 or $274,423 for the construction of a skate park feature at Community Center Park in Lincoln. And with that, I'm happy to respond to any questions or invite Assistant City Manager Racker up to the podium.
Yes. Kyle, I do have some questions. One is, this is on city property. Okay, and then is the city going to own it and take responsibility and liability for it?
Yes, yes to both, and Assistant City Manager Racker is here to expand upon those responses.
Yeah, so that, as you stated, Commissioner, this is on city property. This is a city park, and so once we own it now, we are responsible for the maintenance, the upkeep, the continued construction of the further phases, and that will continue to be the case. We do appreciate this opportunity to request these funds. As Kyle stated, this is a very expensive project for phase 1. Skate parks are unique. They are not a common facility that you see in park. In fact, I think there are only 5 skate parks within Placer County and none within 20 minutes of this particular location. So, and as he stated, this won't just serve the community of Lincoln, but unincorporated areas of Placer County and also neighbor communities such as Sheraton, with an easy drive to this park. This, even though Lincoln has about 15 parks, this particular area of town, the west side of town, is a bit of a park desert without a large regional park facility for our community members. And so this park helps rectify that issue.
Okay. And then just one other thing, and the, any type of plans to regulate when bicycles are using the skate park? Because they will come probably.
Yeah, we understand that that's a possibility, that we may have to do some sort of, well, if nothing else, signage, but also monitoring of the skate park to ensure that the park is available for use in a safe manner and for use for the purpose it's intended. We are also undertaking at the moment a pump track at another location within the city. It's a dirt track that we have partnered with a local nonprofit, and so that might help
Yeah.
keep this for just skates.
All right. Thank you.
Kyle, how much of the budget for Lincoln does this use? And how much is left afterward? And is there any other projects that would be pulled from that pool?
Yes, absolutely, Vice Chair McCollum. So with this request of $274,423, as of the September end of month reports, this fund will have a remaining uncommitted balance of $10,514. So we're drawing it down pretty low. But we do not have any significant projects in the near term, with the exception of Hidden Falls expansion. So as you all may be aware, we don't have a large assortment of parks or trails in this fee area, with the exception of Hidden Falls. And as you all may be aware, Hidden Falls has absorbed a large volume of these funds in recent years, both for Hidden Falls proper and for the expansion.
Is that going to hinder any of the Hidden Falls stuff?
We do not anticipate that this will, that drawing the fund down this low will hinder our Hidden Falls expansions, either the Phase 1 and Phase 2 or to Bear River. We are pretty creative in gathering funding for some of our projects, both through grant writing and receiving grants, which we have been very successful, specifically at Hidden Falls, and are looking to submit another grant application here in the next coming months for that project as well. And then in addition, our Hidden Falls generally receives a large volume of general fund dollars, both for construction of our facilities, but also for ongoing maintenance. So I think both with our staff's creativity in finding competitive funding and countywide funding, and then allowing our fund to build up over the next years with anticipated continued growth in the region, we don't anticipate significant impacts to our Hidden Falls projects.
Okay, thank you.
So I see this is ready to go out to bid, is that correct? Shortly?
The project has already gone out to bid, and Assistant City Manager Racker will provide additional information.
I'll just stay here till we're done. So I did want to respond to Commissioner McCollum's comment with a piece of information that the city has never received $1 of these funds. And so this would be our first and biggest and probably last request, but we will hope that you will consider that when you're thinking about your decision. And then I apologize, sir, if you could repeat your question, Mr. Kapp.
Oh, yes. So is this getting ready to go out to bid?
It has been placed out to bid, and so the budget that was noted earlier is the amount for Phase 1, barring any unforeseen circumstances of extended dollars.
And what's the construction period?
The construction period is probably about 4 or 5 months, depending on when they start.
Okay, good enough. Just curious. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? We're ready to make a motion?
District 6?
No.
This is a District 2 project, Commissioner Capps District.
Would you like to make the motion?
Yeah. So I'm going to make a motion to recommend the County Board of Supervisors approve the request of the City of Lincoln. Thank you. For park dedication fees from Recreation Area Number 6, Lincoln area, in the amount of $274,423 for the construction of a skate park feature at Community Center Park in Lincoln.
All right,
I'll second.
all right. Do we have an approval?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Any discussion?
Is there any discussion?
It's your question.
You can ask for any more further discussion, and then
Is there
I
any-
would also like to mention that there has been no public comment yet on this item, and we do need to call for public comment before taking a vote on the motion.
All right. Is there any public comment on this item? No? Any other discussion?
I'll pipe in a little bit with discussion. It's easy to think of skate parks as being, it's focusing on teens, young 20s, and that's all it serves. But what I've seen in other communities is that it can be a nice morning and there are parents out there with toddlers and scooters and kicking a ball around anyway, it serves a broader part of the community than you might think, just with the idea of a skate park.
And then the other thing I see is it does focus on a different aspect of our community. We have playgrounds for smaller children. We have field sports for a different segment of society. We have hiking trails for others. But the skate parks fit a niche that just isn't being filled unless we want the kids with their skateboards in the commercial areas. So, is it needed? Yes, I think so. May I call for a vote?
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No? All right, it's approved. We can move on to item number 8, informational items.
Okay, so I'm the first one up here. And I'd like to start by providing an overview of our urban forestry and fuels reduction program. So again, as mentioned previously, we've been looking at our programs and sort of reframing how we articulate our work to the public. And we're very excited to be looking at the delivery of fuels reduction in this way, and how, again, we reorganize staff and responsibilities. So earlier this fall, we received approval from the CEO's office to move forward with a project manager position. This is a new position within Parks that's fully funded and supported by general fund dollars, and annual allocation, as well as grant funding based on the success over the past many years of the fuels reduction work that's been happening. So here is our overview. The Urban Forestry and Fuel Load Reduction Program focuses on managing vegetation across diverse landscapes, including urban open spaces, riparian corridors, drainage basins, parklands, and county facilities to reduce wildfire risk, enhance ecological function, and maintain public safety. Projects are planned, designed, and managed by a project manager, while day-to-day crew operations are directed by the Parks Operations Supervisor, Mark Henry, with a core team of Parks crew workers. This team supports the agency's mission to steward resilient, accessible, and sustainable public lands through proactive vegetation management and urban forestry practices. Again, it's supported through $850,000 general fund allocation for this purpose that has been successfully leveraged to date for grant funding. So we see great potential with this program, and today I'm excited to introduce you to our new project manager, Lauren Catlin, who will share more on her background as well as work planned over the coming months.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Thanks for the introduction, Erica. My name is Lauren Catlin, new project manager with Parks, Trails, and Open Space. A little bit about me. I'm a California native, grew up in the Bay Area, and gained an interest in natural resource management work. Thank you. With a term on an AmeriCorps trail crew. And after that, that led into several seasons of wildland fire with the U.S. Forest Service and National Parks Service. Most recently, I was working as a crew lead collecting forest inventory analysis data with CAL FIRE and the Forest Service as a contractor. So that got me pretty interested in forest health and management, and I'm very excited to assist with the county's efforts in planning and implementing fuels reduction projects that can improve wildfire resilience as well as forest health. So some exciting projects we have going on are grant-funded projects. Parks, Trails, and Open Space is working with the California Tahoe Conservancy on a grant-funded project on all of our, or most of our properties on the northwest side of the lake. We've got 53 acres of county-owned land that was approved for their grant funding. Up until now, we've had 40 acres treated for thinning and hazard tree removal. So this upcoming summer, we would like to finish up the final 13 acres. We're also coordinating with Regional Forest Health on their 3 grant-funded projects. The Forest Hill Transfer Station Fuels Reduction Project is funded by Placer OES Middle Fork Funds. That's 25.5 acres around the transfer station south of Forest Hill. And that will be implemented this summer, maybe spring, depending on weather. Regional Forest Health is also working on a Cabin Creek machine thinning project. That's 144 acres surrounding the landfill. That's in with CAL FIRE funds. They're also working on an Olympic Valley fuels reduction project with CAL FIRE funds as well. So those should all be boots on the ground this summer, and we'll continue to coordinate with Forest Health. Some other exciting projects that we're working on, as Erica mentioned, we have a in-house fuels crew to do work with the county, and they've been working on maintaining shaded fuel breaks in Hidden Falls as well as Griffith Quarry. And we're hoping to get this Loomis Landfill and Loomis South Park project out to bid soon and implemented in the spring or summer. This will treat about 12 acres of forest land around the landfill and the South Park. And the photos on the right, I'll have to be honest, they're not a true before and after photo. I couldn't exactly line one of those up, but the photo on the left is the southeast corner of the landfill, untreated. It hasn't had a fuels treatment yet, so it's pretty overgrown. And then the photo on the right is an area in Loomis Park that had been treated for fuels reduction. So similar oak woodland, the goal would be to get the area around the landfill looking like the photo on the right and just a healthier understory altogether. So thank you. I'm excited to join the team.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions for?
A quick question. You, as our new expert. The Tahoe projects, where is the wood going after it's thinned out?
As of now, it's been going to Cabin Creek. We have not done any timber harvest. I don't believe that is covered under the California Tahoe Conservancy grant. I'm not so sure about the Cabin Creek project. I'm pretty newly introduced to that one. But a lot of the wood that we've been removing in the CTC is non-merchantable and also would require further permitting through CAL FIRE timber harvest.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item B of 8.
And so, again, just wanted to welcome Lauren to the team, who is stepping in to the role that was previously led by Casey Lyons, wearing multiple hats, and with his promotion into senior project manager. Again, we were excited to bring on another project manager, which now to my right, Mark Henry has stepped up as Parks Operations Supervisor in the role Casey previously occupied, and is sitting in for Dan Fauner today.
Evening, Commissioners. Mark Henry, one of your Parks Operations Supervisors. To continue on what Lauren was talking about, the fuels program, we're exceptionally excited about the fuels program. And Lauren is absolutely the key to making all this successful. She is trying to bid and contract larger jobs. We have a lot of lots that are quarter acre, 10th acre lots. And a lot of these smaller lots, contractors won't even bid on because it takes more to mobilize and demob than it does to actually do the job. So that's why we've assembled a fuels crew. We've taken on 4 extra help, 1,000-hour employees, and then we took one of our tree guys from the maintenance crew and also added them. So we have 5 people now on our fuels crew. And the qualifications and the experience that our crew that we assembled have is pretty impressive. Anybody that's come across them so far has already commented on how impressed they are with the variety of experiences that we have. One of them, the current gentleman that came from the maintenance crew, or full-time guy, he's not an arborist, but he's been doing this his entire life, and he just needs to take the test. He knows everything that an arborist should know. We do have a timber harvester on the crew. We have construction workers on the crew. One of them is a certified electrician. And the last guy has been in landscape, commercial and residential landscape for the last 20 years. So we have a very diverse crew, very skilled crew. And so far they've been doing excellent work. We've had them on for 3 or 4 weeks now. So we haven't had them on that long. We're getting everybody trained, everybody certified, everybody checked out on the equipment and the tools and that kind of thing, and moving from there. Also, like Erica said, since I moved up into Casey's spot, my spot's been vacant now for a little bit, and it would be very handy to have a supervisor over all these crews. So we have offered somebody a position, an offer for supervisor, and they've accepted. The individual that's coming on, our new supervisor, he is a certified arborist, and he is also a qualified applicator. He has his qualified applicator license. So he is very familiar with what we do and how we do it. And we're actually getting him from the state, and he's been either a groundskeeper or a supervising groundskeeper for the last 18 years in Napa at the Veterans Retirement Home. So very, very excited to have him on board, because he's going to be a major asset, has a lot of knowledge here, is used to running large crews. So the fuels program is going very well so far, very high expectations. Oh, Lauren did not mention, today we got our burn permit approved. So we can start doing burn piles. We've been assembling burn piles the last couple of years in the parks. And you're limited by size and volume of the burn pile so that you're not creating bonfires, that kind of stuff. But we have plenty of fuel that's ready to go. And so the fuels crew will be working on that starting next week. Any questions about our fuels crew or program, or where we're heading at the moment?
No? No questions? No? No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, you want to move on to number 9, informational items?
Yes, thank
Nope,
you.
sorry. Yep, 9. Yep.
Yep. Yes, thank you again, Vice Chair McCollum. Commissioners, again, Kyle Smith, your principal planner in Parks, Trails, and Open Space. And I will be giving an informational update on our fee program, and also responding to Commissioner Anderson's request for an update on our 5-year fee report from 2 months ago, as well as providing a brief update of what you all will be seeing coming out of our fee program over the next couple months, work being managed by our Associate Planner, Sean Johnson, who is here today. So for a little bit of background, our Park and Recreation Impact Fee Program, our PDF program, of which you just heard and took action on a recipient earlier this evening. This program is essentially funded by two different fee vehicles that are defined in state law. The first being what we colloquially name Quimby Act fees. These are impact fees applied to subdivisions when they come in. So whether it's a two-lot split or many thousands of units like you see in West Placer, each newly created lot is applied these Quimby Act fees. And so those fees are essentially just to offset the need for unimproved parkland. So we know that as new residential subdivisions are built, we need parks to be in them. And so this is the vehicle for us to get parkland in or around new subdivisions. And then on top of that, we also have what are colloquially known as the AB 1600 Mitigation Fee Act fees. And these are a little bit more specific. Our program collects these fees from new residential development. And these fees essentially offset the impacts of those new homes on our residential facilities. So if you think of each new home has people in it that use our parks, those additional people create congestion and overuse of our parks. So we either have to expand them or create new ones as population comes online. And so that's what these fees help backfill, is those impacts of the new development on those facilities. Both of these vehicles have a little bit different kind of rules, regulations, and forms that I'll talk a little bit about later. But generally speaking, the excuse me, AB 1600 fees are a little bit more rigorous in that they require a specific delineation of the nexus between how we collect and spend the fees. Our fee program that you all are well accustomed to was originally adopted in 2004, so a little bit older than 20 years, that established both our impact fee and, as I mentioned, that nexus study that establishes the link between our collection and expenditure of fees. And through that program adoption, our staff, primarily our planners and plan reviewers, apply this fee through three different sections of code. Our Section 15 for our AB 1600 fees, Section 16 are subdivisions for our Quimby fees, and then to note especially any planned development areas or things that zoning areas that require higher levels of assets, we essentially apply a double fee and then also require additional in-tract residential development. So think these planned developments are traditionally more urbanized areas or very close to the cities in an unincorporated area that kind of expect a heightened level of recreational facilities compared to more rural areas of the county. So moving on to our collection, as you all are well accustomed with our 16 different fee areas, our Nexus study examines three subregions that we categorize our facility provision need and proportionality in the eastern, central, and western regions. And then through board action, there was policy direction to further delineate to these 16 fee areas. But the crux of our Nexus study does rely on these three regional areas, and this is how we categorize our performance and measure against the performance required in our general plan. So like I said, although we collect and plan on collecting in three different fee areas, we do distribute amongst these 16 fee areas as we currently sit. We use these fee areas as a guideline for communities to evaluate funding applications as they come in, or our own facility provision needs as they come in, to achieve both regional and local provision standards. I do have a list of recent examples of which our PDF or our impact fees have been used, and you can see that these examples run the gamut of county facilities to partner facilities to city facilities, like you just heard, as well as parks, trails, school facilities, sort of everything. So we do rely on a broad and diverse network of partners to provision recreational facilities throughout unincorporated Placer County. Getting to a question from a couple of months ago, pursuant to California Government Code, anybody or any jurisdiction with one of these Mitigation Fee Act vehicles that they collect fees have to report annually on their collection and expenditures. But in addition to those annual reports, every 5 years, those local agencies are required to report essentially on any unspent fees that have been collected and not spent in those 5 years. The law does not require us to spend those fees, but rather, as listed up here, we have to identify a purpose, a legitimate relationship, have a funding plan for the project, and then a timeline for the project. And if we can identify those things, state law does give us some leeway to collect fees over a longer period of time than just those 5 years. In some of our fee areas, this is really a necessity because either they are very small or they don't receive a ton of development pressure, and so it does take us many years to accumulate enough fees to develop and create a project. And so last year in 2004 was our most recent 5-year fee report. So I am going to talk a little bit about what our findings were from last year. But essentially, as of last year, there were 9 of 16 fee areas that we have been collecting and securing fees for longer than 5 years. And so those are listed here. And I have also listed the unspent fee amount as well as the project title and funding timeline. But since we reported on this program in December of last year, a lot of these projects have moved forward fairly significantly. So just starting from the top, excuse me, since our fee report was adopted last December, your commission and the board had recommended that the Tahoe Cross Country Lodge Phase 1 receive PDF funds. So while that project has not started construction, those funds are committed to the project account for this project. Similarly, with the second for the Lincoln project account, as I mentioned earlier in this meeting, this fee area has funded Hidden Falls Regional Park Phase 1 and 2 expansions. And similarly, since this report, those funds have also been committed, that $91,000 in addition to additional funding for Phase 2. Number 3, similarly, this was another project that your commission and the board affirmatively recommended appropriation for these funds to fund the Loomis North Drainage Project. Which similarly has not begun construction yet, but our project manager, Casey Lyons, is going through our procurement process. And again, these funds have been committed and are expected to be expended in the coming months and years for this project. The next 2 areas are the Rockland and Roseville unincorporated areas. These are fairly small areas, and as I mentioned, are some of the areas that don't necessarily accumulate funds very quickly due to the lack of development pressure in these small and mostly industrial or undeveloped areas. But both of these project accounts in this area are dedicated towards our Dry Creek Greenway expansion, which is one of our projects on our capital improvement program that is essentially expected to run from the Sacramento County line all the way through Placer County, through Roseville, and then out again through Granite Bay across the Linda Creek or another to be identified corridor. And so that's a very large project that will be developed in phases, but we do expect initial expenditures for our Dry Creek Greenway expansion in the Rockland and Roseville areas by 2028. The next project here is Granite Bay, excuse me, is the Cavett School request for which your commission did recommend board appropriation earlier this year. This item has not yet been brought to the board. Erica and I are still working with the project applicants to ensure that the project is ripe and ready for funding appropriation before we request that appropriation from the board. But we expect that to be coming forth very soon in the next couple of months and online with our funding timeline of expenditures in 2026. The next project here is a large ticket item. We have been reserving funds for the Dry Creek Park Phase 3 for a number of years. This will be a very expensive project, anticipating between $3 and $5 million, which, as we mentioned, I believe it was last meeting or perhaps 2 meetings ago, we are starting to undertake pre-planning efforts for this project and do anticipate expenditures to include this $1.3 million by 2027, and likely initial expenditures will be requested in calendar year 2026. The next item, Applegate Playground, since we reported on this, has both been appropriated and completed, of which you all did a ribbon cutting at our last Parks Commission meeting. And then our final item and project is Area 16, which is another one of our smaller areas with not a ton of development pressure. So these funds accumulate fairly slowly, but we have been utilizing them for our Emigrant Trail development. And these funds have been committed to Emigrant Trail future phases. The current phase is being built, but we do have a number of additional planning and pre-planning needs for the next phase of Emigrant Trail moving west from the Serene Lakes area. And so that is, that's the report for all of our unspent funds that we have accumulated and held on to for 5 years or longer. In addition to these projects, we do have our capital improvement program and other funding or other projects that are planned here, but these are the projects that we identified so that we can hold and collect these funds for some longer periods of time. And I suppose before I move on to our expenditure report, this leads me to a great point to talk about other things coming up in this program. So you have heard me briefly talk about our update of our fee program that will be coming down the pike here fairly shortly. We anticipate having a programmatic update discussion with your board into the new year, but I thought I'd give you a little bit of a heads up to the work that Sean and I have been putting forward for the last year. So we had contracted with Wildan Financial Services to develop an updated Nexus study pursuant to government code to adopt our new fee program. Our proposed fee program, you won't see a ton of big policy updates. The biggest things is we're essentially updating costs to come into reality with some of the construction environments that we're dealing with now post-COVID. As I mentioned, our fee was originally updated in 2004. and since that time has received inflationary updates consistent with the Consumer Price Index. But I think, as we all know, that those inflationary updates may not have always kept tabs with real spending costs. That's something we have realized. So that's a big part of our programmatic update, is to bring forward updated unit costs for all of our expenditures: park improvements, unimproved parkland purchases, and trail improvements, among others. In addition, we are also going to be updating and verifying our performance measures. So our general plan defines our performance standard for recreational facility provision. And generally speaking, that is 5 acres of improved parkland and 5 acres of unimproved parkland for every 1,000 residents. We are going to be carrying forward those standards because we have found that we are currently achieving those standards and provisioning that level of facility. And then in addition, we'll likely be including a trail component, because our general plan also requires 1 mile of trails per 1,000 residents. And that's another standard for which we have already achieved and are doing much better than our standard, but it's something that we're going to be building into our fee program as well, to ensure that our fee program represents our general plan standard and our facility provision requirements. And then in addition to those sort of big ticket items, there are a number of what I would call kind of technical clarifying updates as well. So we're going to be clarifying the provision for fee allowance or fee credits for private facilities. And then I think probably the biggest one is a statutory requirement that our fee is going to be provisioned on a per square foot basis rather than a per unit basis. This is a requirement coming down from the state for all impact fees subject to AB 1600 to apply it on essentially an objective basis. So either on a per square footage basis or on some other objective standard that the local agency defines, rather than trying to define some kind of new industry standard. We do plan on proposing a per square foot fee, but this will sort of shift our provision a little bit. So like I said, our current fee is on a per unit basis. So every residential unit, essentially no matter the size, pays the same rate. Should our fee program be adopted, that'll shift to a per square foot rate, wherein smaller units will pay a proportionally less rate than those larger units. So I'm just going to throw out a random number here for the sake of math. Don't take this as the true number, but let's say our fee is $100. A 1,000 square foot house would pay the $100 rate of that, whereas a 5,000 square foot house would pay 5 times that rate because of the size of the residence. And so, like I said, this is a statutory requirement for all impact fees, but staff also feels like this is a little bit more appropriate and actually may calculate the impact a little bit more fair. Those larger residences oftentimes do have more people in them than the 800 square foot studio apartment or something like that. And so it's that similar impact calculation of more people using the recreational facilities. And so that's sort of a brief update. Like I said, Sean and I will plan on having a more detailed update in the new year, and likely requesting more detailed policy and technical input. But with that, I am happy to respond to any questions about informational item, our fee program generally, the 5-year report, or our upcoming update before I move on to our fee report and fund balance.
Kyle? Yeah, I'm with regarding the 5 acre 5 acres of passive and 5 acres of active per 1,000 people, and then the 1 mile per 1,000 people. Is that going to be impacted by the new general plan, or is that written in to the, because we've already passed the master plan for the trail parks and trails, is that already part of that, and therefore it will already be in the general plan?
So that is an excellent question, and I'm very glad you brought that up, Commissioner. So our current general plan defines those standards of 5 acres active and passive per 1,000 residents. That's our current general plan. Our most recently adopted master plan from 2022 did include recommendations for the next general plan update to potentially shift those standards to a more localized standard. So there's a discussion, I believe it's our policy 1.2 area in our master plan, which suggests a PACE standard, which is essentially an index that allows communities to provision a split of active and passive parkland as that community sees fit. So you can imagine that communities in higher foothills or Tahoe area may like to see more passive parkland, trail systems, et cetera, than active parks. And so that proposed PACE system in the master plan would allow that community to potentially have more passive parkland and less active parkland, but the net of it would still comply with those standards. So those standards have not been carried forward yet. The general plan update is still forthcoming.
Right.
We do anticipate shifting those general plan standards when the general plan does update, but we are not quite there yet. And that is another one of the reasons why we are maintaining our existing standards written in the general plan moving forward. Because although our master plan has been adopted with these proposed recommendations, our general plan has not quite been adopted yet. But we do anticipate come time for our next Nexus study and fee program update about 5 years from now, those new standards will be in place, and our next fee program update will likely include a shift to that master plan or new general plan standard of facility provision.
Thank you. That sounds like a good idea, with be able to split, keep the 10 acres per 1,000 residents, but adjust it according to their needs. Thank you.
I perked up at your discussion about the shift from per dwelling unit to per square foot or per 1,000 square feet or something, because that's a real that's a big shift. Does the statute give you a drop dead that any county across the state has got to make that shift by 2028 or something like that?
That's absolutely true, and it's actually that time has passed. So every new fee program, it's every new fee program adopted in the state since 2022 needs to apply their fee on this objective basis. So because we haven't updated our fee since then, we are still applying our fee appropriately. But since this new update is coming along post 2022, now is the time when we will have to shift.
Separate question, these 16 different zones, the kind of $64,000 question is, is the requirement that the money collected in each zone must be spent only in that zone? Or if you've got like a regional trail that crosses over boundaries, is there some flexibility for spending money from zone X in zone Y?
So that is an excellent question, and a significant portion of our fee program. So this is a piece of our fee program that often is a little bit mystifying and has some and is a kind of confusing component. So we do Our Nexus study defines our sub-regional collection as these three regions shown on the left side of the screen, the eastern, central, and western regions. And we will be, in our fee update, be bringing these regions forward in a similar fashion, because generally this is how we evaluate performance of that 5 and 5 acre standard. We don't quite evaluate performance on such a minute scale as these 16 sub-regions. So we do collect, and we plan on collecting across the 3 fee areas. Currently, we expend across the 16 different fee areas, and this update will give your commission and the board the opportunity to discuss that path moving forward, whether you would like to continue spending in this, what I would call, the community level expenditures, or if we ought to think about the county more regionally as our Nexus study defines, and both collect and expend fees on a regional manner so that we can, exactly to your point, fund some of these larger projects, multi-community trail systems, large regional parks like Hidden Falls, and some of our other kind of larger facilities that both span geographies and funding potentials.
All right, thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, of course. And then moving on to our fee update and fund balance, you will see here we have a little bit more than $3 million in the bank. We have been seeing steady growth over the last 3 or 4 years with the excellent economic and housing development environment that we've seen generally across the region, but most prolifically in West Placer. As we've mentioned before, we do have a number of projects across many of these fee areas already identified, but we are also always on the lookout for PDF applications similar to the one you just saw earlier this evening. And with that is another thing I would like to note with our program update. Erica and I have been entertaining a shift to our PDF and our expenditure program update to shift from a kind of a as received basis or a rolling basis for these applications to potentially shifting to an annualized program where we can then compare applications essentially against each other rather than against future projects or things as they come in. So it gives us a little bit, could give us a little bit more of an ability to compare projects against other projects and ensure that we're getting the best bang for our buck as far as achieving our facility provisions when we're sending these dollars out to our recreation partners. So that's something that we have been discussing and will likely similarly be bringing to your commission when we bring forward our fee program update and Nexus study. And so similarly with that, I'm happy to answer questions about the fund balances or I guess at this point sort of anything related to park and recreation impact fees.
I think we're good. Thanks, Kyle.
Excellent. Thank you, commissioners.
Can move on to commissioner comments. Start down at the end with Jim. No? All right. Serge?
Nothing.
No?
Welcome on board.
Yeah. I just want to thank you guys for preparing such in-depth presentations tonight. They were all wonderful. Thank you very much. You always do a great job. Rich, you have anything?
Happy holidays.
Gordon? All right.
And thank you for your jackets.
Yes, thank you for the jackets and the name tags. Mm-hmm. We can move on to approval of the Parks Commission meeting calendar. We have proposed meetings on January 15th, March 19th, May 21st is a meeting and a tour, probably Roseville. July 16th, September 17th, and that's our Tahoe one, and then November 19th next year. Does that work out for everybody?
I have a question. It says, May 21st, meeting and tour, and you said that's gonna be up Roseville, or?
Well, it's traditionally in Roseville, but
Is that a site that's already been determined, or is that, something that we're just leaving open because May is a great time to tour the West?
We will ask for your feedback and suggestions as we get closer to that date. So generally, we spend the fall in the Tahoe area, and then any other sites that you'd like to see that are project-based, we would welcome your feedback prior to that. So Tracy will be reaching out.
Great, thank you.
Do we have anything going on in the Sheraton area?
We sure do have a project in the Sheridan area. As your commission may recall, you previously appropriated funding, and Casey has been diligently working with our consultant at Yamasaki Landscape to develop concept plans, which we presented a few months ago now to the community to their benefit, I hope. And we did receive a number of public comments in support of the project as defined. It essentially will be improving the bathroom facilities that are over there at the park, installing a walking trail, doing some playground improvements, and then other kind of associated recreational improvements around the community hall. I do not anticipate this being a construction site on May 21st, but that may be a good candidate for a tour for a kind of before and after, because hopefully, should all of our kind of project work go according to plan, we will be turning dirt and doing work this construction season there at Sheridan. So that could be a potentially excellent site. Thank you, Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you.
all right. Does anybody want a motion to approve the meeting calendar for next year?
Sure, I move that we approve the 2006 Parks Commission meeting calendar.
I'll second that.
And can I get a vote for approval?
Aye.
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 All right. The next item is the election of the 2026 Parks Commission officers. But being that Ann is not here tonight, I propose that we move it to our January meeting so that she can have a say in all this.
Okay, I have a question now. We had our last election, and you were elected vice chair, and that was a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on your first year.
Yep.
And traditionally, we let you serve 2 terms, and then we.
And we do have the bylaws in front of you, Vice Chair, if you'd like to read that for the benefit of the commission.
you.
So the members of the commission shall elect a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary who shall serve until the election of their successors as provided hereinafter. Terms of office shall become effective immediately upon conclusion of the election. Officers shall serve a term of 1 year, with the end of the term being December 31st. These elected officers can be renewed 1 time. Should the chair position become vacant, an election shall be held at the next regular scheduled Parks meeting to select a new vice chair with a majority vote of the Parks Commission required for selection. So we can do 2 years, but we would need Ann here to say
Yeah, we
that
don't
she-
want to just elect her, although that's what happens when you don't show up, you get elected.
So can we get a motion to move the election to our January 15th meeting?
Certainly, I'll move that we postpone our election of officers until the January 15th meeting.
Second?
All right, and a vote for approval?
Aye.
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 All right, and our next park commission meeting is going to be January 15th. And I think that's it. We can adjourn the meeting at 6:50.
Just take it and adjourn it. That's it.
Good job.
Good job.